Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're doing a project for Gerda Steiner Designs, and we are using a new stamp set that will be or is available now at the Gerda Steiner shop. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this video, but this is a brand new set called Muffin Compares. Now if it's available right now, I'll link it down below, but if it's not, it's coming soon, so you get kind of a sneak peek. Okay, so Muffin Compares is so cute. It has two muffins or cupcake images. You can kind of switch it up. It doesn't have to be a muffin, but it doesn't have to be a cupcake, so I think that's super neat. And then there's two sentiments in the stamp set. One of them says Muffin Compares to You, and yes, I was singing that song all day long. And then there's another sentiment that says you are the, and then sweetest is in a scripty font. So it's very versatile, cupcakes or muffins. Today we're going to create a cupcake and a muffin, and I'm stamping my images. You can see one of them has little eyes looking off to the right, and then the other one's kind of blushing a little bit. I think that's so sweet. So those are the images we're going to stamp, and then the sentiment we're going to stamp Muffin Compares to You. I didn't want to stamp the U, so I masked it off with my purple tape here. I'm inking up my sentiment with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. We're going to stamp in the bottom corner of our panel. This way I can block it off. It just makes it easier because I have two straight edges. So I have Muffin Compares to. I have a plan with the U, and so we didn't need that extra U on our sentiment. Okay, I'm going to color in my muffins and cupcakes with Copic markers. I'm going to play a little music while I color, and then when I'm done coloring, I will get you back. Okay, coloring's all done. Now you can see I'm using my colorless blender here and highlighting my muffin liners and my cupcake liner there. And then I used my white gel pen and added highlights to the blueberries and also polka dots on my little cupcake there. Okay, now I'm going to bring in a Love You word die. And so I want to basically just cut out the word you from it. But I wanted, instead of using colored cardstock, I thought we'd create an ombre effect using the same markers that I used for the blueberries on my blueberry muffin there. So I'm using B18 for my darker shade on top here, and then I'm going to bring in my mid-tone, which is B14, and then the lightest is B12. Just create an ombre effect background, and I think that's going to work out fabulous. After we have this done, I'm going to fussy cut out my blue. There's my die here. Just needing the U. I don't need the love. Well, yes we do. I think everybody needs a little love, but not today for this card. Just need the U. But die cut that out and fussy cut out the rest of my images here. So they're good to go. Here's my little cupcakes. I left a little bit of a white border. And then here is my ombre U. I always like orange and blue together. I think it's a great color combination. Okay, and you can see I blocked off my sentiment too. So we'll set these aside, bring in some vellum and white cardstock, and then I'm also going to bring in my double stitched rectangle dies. We're going to die cut out a larger panel with white cardstock and then a smaller one with the vellum. The vellum is about 1/4 inch smaller than my white panel here. Once these are ready to go, they're going to line up together like this basically. But I thought we'd add a little texture in our background. So we're going to bring in an embossing folder. This has like a burlap or a very fine texture. It's a very fine detailed embossing folder. I'll link it down below. But it's perfect because you could see it when you add vintage photo behind it. And that's what we're doing right now. I'm just using my blending brush. And this is Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. I'm adding a little bit of color, concentrating it in the middle, and then just spreading it out. And I can go pretty dark here. This way when I add my vellum, you can still see through it. It just softens it, but you can still see texture also. So that's ready to go. Now we're going to line up the word you using the grid lines on my mat. It's going to help me line it up on my panel. And it's not quite centered. It's a little bit higher than the center. And I was debating. I have the O upside down, and I was debating on whether I like the dark blue in the middle. But I decided to go with the dark blue all along the top of my U. I think it just looked nicer. Now I'm going to take some foam tape, add it behind my sentiment. We'll remove the release paper and add that to the center of the YOU. Now my U is not adhered to my vellum. But it is adhered to the Muffin Compares To sentiment. So I can lift up the entire thing, which makes it super handy because I don't have to fuss with thin strips of foam adhesive. I can use just one strip, add it behind my U, and that is good to go. Easy peasy. So it's all one piece now. I'm going to line that up back on my vellum. You can see it's kind of sandwiched together. Makes it really easy. I'm going to line it up on my vellum, and I think it looks great. Now, since my background has texture to it, I was afraid that my tape runner wouldn't adhere. I was afraid it would fall off. So you could use glue, but glue sometimes with vellum, just not a happy combination. The vellum sometimes warps with glue. So I thought I'd bring in some score tape. We'll add one strip behind our U, and then we can go ahead and use this to adhere to our background. And this way I know it's going to stay put. We're going to add our frosting to our cupcake, just using our tape runner. We'll add that, and then we'll flip over our cupcake here, our blushing cupcake, and then our muffin, our blueberry muffin. Add some foam adhesive, and then that's going to go on the very bottom, right below the U in our sentiment. Now, as I did this, I thought, you know what, it's kind of off balance with the orangey colors of the muffin and cupcakes. So I'm going to bring in a little bit over a 1/2 inch strip of orange cardstock, and then also about a 1/2 inch strip of diagonal black and white stripe paper. I'm going to layer them both together here on the top, and then the excess overhanging I'm going to flip behind my panel. So it's behind the vellum and the cardstock. And then I'm going to staple it with my mini stapler here. The stapler I've had for a while. It's from American Crafts, but the staples, when you staple them, are super small. So I thought it would be perfect to add a little extra detail on my fishtail banners there. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel to an A2 size card base that I'm creating with my my cardstock here. I'm just scoring it down the middle. The cardstock that I'm using is called Cocoa Powder. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that, and that's ready to go. Now I went ahead and added my morning dewdrops to my blueberries in the eye of my muffin, and then I added a little bit of white blizzard to the frosting of my little cupcake there. And that completes my card today, guys. Super cute. I love the outcome. And if you're interested in it, the links will be below. But if they're not available yet, again, this is just a sneak peek. Thanks so much for joining me. I wish you a fabulous day. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.